Here we are again. The beauty of talking about recovery. Recovery is beautiful. And like I say every week, every day, if you're not laughing, if you're not working hard and loving unconditionally, then you need to relook at your day and see how you can improve it. That's what we talk about here in the 1% in Recovery podcast. Successful gamblers and alcoholics stopping addiction. If you have yet to rate and review the show, please do. We also have a Facebook group, the 12 Steps Explained Fellowship, where you can leave a post. We can start a question. You can ask me something about recovery, about the steps, about addiction, about what needs to move forward. And lastly, if you're working the steps and struggling with the steps or confused, there's a solution. The 90-day 12-step road to freedom. It's an online course, takes you through the 12 steps, and it also includes recovery coaching. Gets you to the other side, and you're done in 90 days. You're already starting to feel recovered where you can laugh, work hard, and love unconditionally. Today, we're going to jump in to a topic that's been addressed on 2 recent episodes. Sports betting research and how that has always infiltrated the mind of the compulsive gambler, the compulsive sports bettor that actually believes that they have an edge, that they have the smarts, that they have a system. In the episode prior to this, episode 73, with Dr. Timothy Fong, researcher, psychiatrist at UCLA, and he referenced that we have not studied this aspect of how the research has played into the addiction. And he was going to look into it more. And it also came back from episode 67 with my buddy Dan Trolaro, sports bettor, also worked at the New Jersey Council and currently with Epic Risks Management, where he goes on college campuses and talks to a lot of college athletes. And they are talking a lot about research, that they're doing their research on gambling because they don't see gambling as gambling. They see gambling as money management. What? That just kind of blows my mind. I always knew that gambling was gambling to me. It's win or lose. Drinking was, I'm going to drink. And I'm sure in any other form, whether it was about looking for women, it was about looking for women, it was about sex. There wasn't this other reason. It was straightforward. And I know a lot of this has been carefully placed words by the gaming and gambling industry, where they talk about free bets, bonus play, that gambling is entertainment. Gambling is not entertainment. To me, gambling was about being in action. Because once you're a compulsive gambler, it's all about the action. And then it's become about win or lose, win or lose. That's it. But this newer generation, or a lot of people that have almost been brought up with fantasy sports, where they can research, and you just got to find out about the home records, the road records, talking about if there's somebody's a double-digit road favorite, or they're a home dog, or a specific team is what's their rushing per game, or the defense, what's their defense against the rush. Or if you look at this pitcher's on the mound, what is their strikeout ratio? What is the defense? What is the batting average? Or you're looking at NBA turnovers or rebounds. You know, if one team can out-rebound the other, they're more than likely to win. And also if they have less turnovers. There's all these stats that are coming at you. Same thing with horse racing. You would research not only the jockey, the horse, the trainer, the track. And then if that's not enough, you're going into weather. You're looking at, especially with sports teams, injury reports. It's just endless. And so when I was hearing these things about research that were brought up in previous episodes by Dr. Fong or by Dan, and I started to remember about my own gambling. Now, I haven't gambled in 22 years, but I've always said that I was always most high when I got up in the morning and I saw the gambling line. The gambling line is what got me going. It was the needle that was able to inject my bloodstream and go straight to my brain of being high. And I didn't make this correlation until this week. And I always said, okay, that's what got me high and that's what kept me going throughout the day. And then actually calling up my bookie, placing a bet, and then the game, whether it won or lost, and then figuring out, okay, am I going to collect or pay out this week? Those were just activities. It had nothing to do with my closed off emotional state, because gambling makes you an emotional zombie. But here's the thing. So if in the morning I got that needle and I got high, how did I maintain a high? Because most times, the games are at night and I'm waking up in the morning. So there's almost a good 10 hours. That's the bridge. The bridge is the research. The research allows me to stay high. I can start to believe that I actually can outsmart not only the bookie, because it's really the bookie's just taking the bets. He's just a middleman. But I can outsmart the Vegas odds makers. I have a system. I can really uncover that one statistic, even though most of the time, most of us were betting on teams. So it wasn't actually just betting on one individual. We were actually betting on 5 people, 9 people, 11 people, or we're betting on a person on top of a horse or a dog running, chasing some fake rabbit. You could not do enough research to figure this out. Because when I was gambling, I would look at all the teams. Now, you would see teams when they finished the regular season. This is back when they were playing 16-game seasons. This is NFL football. You would have teams with records of 1-15, or they're 14-2. But against the spread, every team, every year would fall in the middle category. The middle category was either the team went 6-10, 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, or 10-6 against the spread. Straight up. Not straight up, against the spread. And then that meant that Vegas was always moving the line. So no matter if a team got hot and covered 2, even 3 weeks in a row, they were going to make it so much challenging that you were going to constantly then start jumping on their bandwagon, and then you're going to lose. It happened every year. It would be the same thing with baseball, basketball. They all would end up around 500. And if that doesn't tell you a lot, that the odds makers are so on the money, and they're more on the money on football than they are on the other sports. Number one is because there's less games. But football is the sport that's most heavily bet upon. So they know that they're going to make money for the casino, for the sports book, and now obviously for mobile, which are mostly casinos and sports books, the mobile books on your phone. It is a myth that you actually can outsmart Vegas consistently. You may have a hot week, you may have a hot month, you may even have a hot year. But in anything, they're in it for the long haul, and they have the bank, and they will take you down. It is like the Muse that has this sandy white beach, and it is calling to you, and your ship is about to come in. When I'm talking about coming in, and you think and you dream the dream world of the compulsive gambler, like it talks about in 12-step literature. You're about to hit it big. But before your ship actually gets to that sandy white beach, it hits rocky coral underneath. And then your ship becomes shipwrecked and grounded, and you drowned. I would tell most sports bettors, do what George Costanza did in Seinfeld in one of these TV show episodes, where it was about do the opposite. Because think about it. If you're overall going to lose, you're better off doing the opposite. You might actually have a winning year. So the irony of that is that me, included with all my other buddies that I have brought on this podcast, whether I'm talking about my other sports bettors, Saul, Rocky, Richard, Matt, Mike, Dan, that we all have this wonderful life by doing the opposite. The opposite of gambling and having a so-called research and system is to not gamble and then spend all that energy on the things that will actually bring you joy. And that is, you're going to invest in the woman that you love, the man that you love, the relationships, family. We all have million-dollar ideas, like an earlier episode with Dr. Rob Kelly in episode 47, where he's talking about every human's got million-dollar ideas. He was talking mainly about the alcoholic mind, but I'm talking about that we all have the energy, the smarts to do something with our life, something fabulous, amazing. So what I'm just going to finish this is tap into your million-dollar idea. Become rich in spirit, in relationships, in money, in love, in connections with your higher power. That is achieved by doing the proper research into knowing who you truly are and how you can elevate and become this unbelievable person. The person that you are always meant to be. You should always live your best life. That is what this podcast is about. The 1% in recovery that truly do recover and live this amazing life where we laugh every day. We work hard and we love unconditionally. That's going to conclude this episode of the 1% in recovery.